Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my review of this week's episode of the originals on the CW, which was episode 8 of season 4 called Voodoo In My Blood. But also here, I want to talk about the fact that the originals has been in fact renewed by the CW. Just a couple days ago, it was officially announced this, along with iZombie and different things like that. As you know, it was cool to hear that iZombie was renewed, but I gotta say, I was definitely most happy to hear about the original's renewal, because it was kind of a question of how much longer the show would go after the Vampire Diaries ended, if it would still be enough for the CW to keep this kind of world going, and I'm so glad and relieved that they've decided to. How many more seasons? We don't know for sure, but I'd guess at least season 5, maybe another season after that. Then again, it would be nice for it to get just as many as the Vampire Diaries, but you don't want it to get too stretched out or too murky, kind of like the Vampire Diaries did in its last couple seasons. But as far as like stories go and stuff, but still, really, really happy to hear it's getting a season 5 next year. I know there's a certain plan or idea Julie Plex said she has in her head about where she wants to take season 5 that she was eager to have the chance to play out, and now she will. For me, the originals is one of my all-time favorite shows. It's within my top 10, probably pretty damn close to my top 5, honestly. I'll be doing a video sometime on my all-time favorite TV shows, but. So the originals is one of my favorite shows, but Klaus Michelson, Joseph Morgan, he's probably one of my two, all-time favorite lead characters in any show or movie, really. So if the originals ever got canceled prematurely, I'd be, pissed as hell. If his story ever got cut short of what it could have been. So, I'm definitely, happy about this for sure. Let me guys think about the originals getting renewed for season 5, and where do you think they'll take it? And I'll talk more about where I think they're going to go with it, or some of the things I've heard at the end of this review. But now let's talk about the actual episode. I did think it was a pretty good episode. I did like last week's, but I thought this one is just a bit better. Not sure why, I just think it sort of had more intriguing things going on with the plot this week. Even though, yes, we've seen Davina again. I'm not a big fan of Davina, but if she's gonna be on it, I guess I'm fine with more of this outside, kind of role for her, sort of. I don't really want her roaming around New Orleans anymore. Like physically, I'm fine if she's like the part of the ancestors and who they go to for that. But I don't want her to be walking around. But I'm sure that's probably gonna happen again at some point. But that part was okay. I liked how they played that with Marcel and everything, especially at the end, though. So I care about how Marcel, feels for her and everything. We'll talk more about that scene in a few minutes. For a little bit, I was actually thinking that Davina was going to turn out to be the Hollow somehow, because when we seen like her form briefly last week, or fairly recently with that, Blue Mist, or there's like this little girl or something. To me, it kind of looked like Danielle Campbell, Davina, but apparently it's not, because we sort of get this origin for the Hollow in this week's episode. I thought that was okay. I still don't think the Hollow is going to live up to the antagonist roles of like Michael or Dahlia even. But it's coming along. It's decent. You just find out of her ties, back into like the natives, like these really ancient times. We find out she's actually the reason for the werewolf curse. So that's fairly significant. I'll give it that. They're creating a place for her. So that makes sense. It's not just something that's so major that it's just starting now. So I don't know if I was explaining that right, but I kind of appreciated like the importance they are trying to place on her, though. So it's not so bad so far, really. And also the fact that it ties into Hayley so well. The show's called The Originals, but she was never part of the original family. And yeah, it still kind of does refer to the family, but at the same time, in a way, she's kind of the original family in her own way, with the, werewolves and her being the initial, her family being the initial ties to that kind of. It makes her, part of the original's title too now, so I think that's, pretty cool, whether they intend to do that or not. So I like Hayley's tie into that. Hayley's become a character I really, really like. I think she's grown a lot over the seasons, and she's higher up in my top characters list too, I think. I'll have to update that again soon. But so I liked all that. And of course, Davina, she tries once again to kill Klaus, using him as a sacrifice, not telling you it's going to be a sacrifice, just making it sound like it's like a channeling, battery kind of thing. But luckily, they're able to reverse that in time. I was hoping Marcel was just going to put, Davina down at that point. But he didn't, and, I understood why, but I just don't want Davina around. I also like the scene between Elijah and Marcel in this episode, where Elijah just shows how far he goes. Marcel's kind of questioning him about, the Harvest Girls and everything. Or I think Hayley did too. But the scene between Marcel and Elijah, Marcel sort of calls Elijah out, saying, "Oh yeah, you're showing your true colors now." And he basically says that Elijah is almost worse than Klaus, because Klaus is up front about his selfish, or whether it is selfish or not. You can debate his nature to save his family no matter what, protect them no matter what, no matter who gets hurt. He says at least Klaus is up front about it, but Elijah likes to mask it with his civility, his his way of speaking and everything like that. So really, who is more psychotic, I guess. But I don't fully see Elijah that way either, but I can definitely see some perspectives on it. And really, I think if Marcel or anyone else is put in that same place, to protect their, those they love the most, I think you'd be almost just as kill happy. Despite me not liking Davina in this episode, I did like the scene of Davina's grave at the end with Marcel talking to her, where he hopes she doesn't think he let her down. He talks about how he held so much against Klaus and everyone, until he sort of lived up to something he would tell himself when he was younger. So I thought that was actually a really good scene. I liked Davina's kind of reaction to it. So overall, I really did like this episode. Also, Alaric Saltzman is in the episode. I can't believe I almost forgot to mention that. Of course, Alaric Saltzman from the Vampire Diaries, because they need a certain artifact, from Mystic Falls and everything. So I thought that worked out really well. I did a video on this being announced, quite a while ago, but it was really good to see him on this. I do miss TVD in a way, but I'm kind of fine where they left it. But I definitely don't mind seeing characters still crossing over, since they are in the same universe. And I liked the scene between Alaric and Hope, actually. I thought was, pretty good. Alaric's pretty good with kids, and the way he talked to her I thought was kind of sweet. Just saying there's other experiences besides, all this, killing, dark, nature type of stuff. And then I also liked Alaric telling Klaus about the school him and Caroline, opened up and everything. Not sure if this is before or after, Klaus donated that money. I'm just kind of confused about that right now. I'm sure if I thought for a second I would know, but apparently I'm not gonna. But either way, still that's a good tie-in, and I think that's somehow going to tie into season 5. Maybe Klaus will actually take Hope there, and that'll bring Caroline back onto the show. I know a lot of people want Klaus and Caroline, but I still don't really like that. I appreciate what Caroline brought out of Klaus initially in the Vampire Diaries. That more human type of side to him. But I honestly think Klaus is either Hayley, Cammy, but she's dead now. But Klaus is either Hayley, Cammy, or someone else. It just works better. I don't know. I just feel like it's more real. Maybe not something born and completely out of fan service, but it's not, because they have that stuff in season 3 and 4 and everything. But I don't know. But yeah, overall, I did really like this episode. I'm rating it an 8.9 out of 10. Let me know what you guys thought about it. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.